The young people involved in the program in its first 18 months haven't reoffended, and now there are calls for the program to be rolled out elsewhere. Natalie Whiting reports.
Did you have maths this morning?
Yeah.
And what about art? Did you do painting this afternoon?
Yeah. Did my garden mode.
You finished it?
No.
How much longer have you got to go?
16-year-old Alina is getting a second chance at an education.
So when we're going into the cliffs, what we're going to try and do is try and divide the frame into thirds. What do you reckon? We're going to give it a go?
Yeah.
Basically what we do is we work one-on-one with young people that have been involved in criminal justice, and we try and re-engage with all kinds of learning opportunities. So we have a mobile classroom that allows for some more informal and outdoor settings, which we use as a re-engagement tool.
When she was 13, Alina missed almost all of grade 7.
I was just hanging around with the wrong crowd, just going in trouble with them, getting drunk, just doing stupid things, just for the fun of it, because we thought there was nothing better to do. And yeah, just ended up myself in court.
She avoided a custodial sentence, and through her youth worker, she met teacher Dane Paulson.
It was very, very hard. I don't know what I was doing without Dane, because the work was just so hard, just completely different, like adding A plus B and adding numbers together and letters together. It's very hard.
Each week, Dane uses the mobile classroom to tutor Alina. Today, a photography lesson is his method of instruction.
So if I'm trying to introduce a concept that otherwise is really quite foreign, I'll introduce something that's tactile, something that's real world, and then you can apply a principle. So, you know, where you might think that, you know, fractions might be something that's really, really difficult, you can introduce composition and photography and introduce the idea of fractions and then refer back to that when you extend the knowledge further on. So down here, in this foreground shadow, that's probably just about middle grade.
Alina's one of 24 young people who've been involved with the program run by the charity Save the Children. She hasn't been back in trouble, and she's not alone. Save the Children says 80% of participants haven't reoffended.
In the 18 months to date, I think I've delivered, it'll be more than 350 lessons now. And the attendance rate for these sessions is actually now at 93%. So we're starting to see that these young people have a real willingness to engage with the model.
And are you picking all young people up from their homes?
The mobile teaching program began after the charity found many young people who'd been involved in the juvenile justice system couldn't get a job or get into a TAFE course because their literacy levels were so poor.
You know, what kind of re-engagement strategy do you use for someone that's brought 20 litres of petrol in a drug-induced psychosis to school trying to burn the place down? And I mean, that's really where we're at.
Save the Children believes the Out Teach program should be rolled out in other states.
With those images of Dondale so fresh in people's memories, I think it's a really, really critical time, and it's good timing. We now have the results on the board to show that it works, so why not give it a shot?
Dane Paulson has been promoting the program across the country.
I mean, it's not the only issue. It's not like we could just go, oh, well, let's put a teacher in a van and we won't have problems anymore. But I think it's a really critical part of the puzzle. So to ignore it would be foolish, and to do nothing would actually be more criminal than continuing for things to go the way they are.
Tasmania has seen a big drop in the number of young detainees in the past 4 years, but it's still scrutinising its juvenile justice system.
Those devices and those practices at Dondale does not occur at Ashley. Does that mean Ashley's perfect? No.
The employee was involved in 2 standoffs with inmates at the Ashley Youth Detention Centre.
Problems at the Ashley Detention Centre have sparked debates about its future, and multiple reviews are underway. Dane Paulson hopes the Out Teach program will be part of the mix.
We assume that all of the young people we work with have a trauma-affected background. So we have histories of abuse, neglect, substance abuse, violence in the home. These in themselves are significant barriers, you know, and all the educational literature will point towards that. But then you add to that the idea that you know, that their histories and their criminal histories are even sometimes strongly linked to their experience with school. So that might be other students that are involved, teachers, administration. So they have very, very negative experiences at school.
Wasn't for Dane, I probably wouldn't be back at school and probably wouldn't be getting C's, probably be below standards, but I'm not at the same standards as everyone else.
And do you think you could have ended up in more trouble, you know, with the law if you hadn't got involved with Save the
Oh
Children?
yeah, a lot more of trouble because I wouldn't have had that support to tell me not to.
You know, I'd be lying if I said it worked perfectly for every single student. It doesn't. But what we're seeing is that with this multi-layered support, where we have, you know, the youth team able to deal with some of the, you know, therapeutic and functional supports, alongside the educational support, you know, we're really seeing some genuine gains.
Alina's now planning to go to university and hopes to become a youth worker herself.
Because I know what it's like, and it's hard when you don't have a support at home, and I know what it's like to, you know, go through the bad thing and get back on track, and how hard it is to get back on. But once you're back on track, you're pretty much set.